Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game. So today I got a super exciting and super fun video for you guys this evening because Skids has released a new version of Turbo OutRun Reimagined. If you're not familiar with it, it's a complete reimagining and remake of OutRun and Turbo OutRun for modern systems. I talked about it twice back in 2024, but Skids came out with 0.5 like 36 hours ago, and I had to get really creative with this because I've used so many adjectives that give this developer accolades as to just how insane of a job they're doing is, and I've got to come up with some new ones because this version is even better than the last. It's basically just OutRun and Turbo OutRun completely modernized with tons of options, quality of life improvements, high definition 16:9 graphics. You can go all the way up to 4K. It is absolutely a straight up 11 out of 10 as far as a fan game project is concerned, and it's giving us what Sega will not. Before we get too far involved though, do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like and subscribe, and ring that notification bell. Definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, we got a Patreon link down below as well. But if you know me and you know the channel, you know full well I have nothing but good things to say about the entire OutRun franchise. This is from start to finish, from the first game all the way through to OutRun 2 SP-SDX, some of my favorite arcade racing ever put to a video game form. OutRun, Turbo OutRun, Outrunners, OutRun 2, they are just absolutely incredible games. But unfortunately, Sega hasn't given us a new entry in the OutRun franchise since we got OutRun 2 in arcades and on Xbox, PlayStation 2, and pretty much every other console back in the day. And that is just absolutely wild because fans want more OutRun. It is still one of the videos, anytime I talk about OutRun, people love to watch, and I'm really surprised that Sega has not revisited this. And if you haven't seen this before, it is new in version 0.5. There is a full police chase mechanic in here now. You're going to hear radar beeps, you're going to know when the police are coming up on you, and you're going to get in high-speed pursuits. The police are going to try to knock you off the course, and you need to outrun them, pun very much intended. And it's just another nice feature added to this newest version of the game, which came out like early Sunday morning or late Saturday night, depending on where you were. And everything else is just as good as it was last time I talked about it, and there's definitely been a lot of features added and improvements as well. One of the #1 things I love right off the top is it seems like developer Skids has changed the audio balancing between the engine noises and the soundtrack underneath it by default, because in the previous video I said maybe the engine noises were slightly louder than I would have liked, because OutRun and Turbo OutRun have some of the best music Sega's ever made, and I wanted to hear a little bit more of it, and that's definitely come in here. The developer seems to take fan feedback and just go ahead and improve areas in which they can. And that's the great thing about these in-development builds of games like Turbo OutRun Reimagined. The developer can send them out into the world, tell people they're not finished, and take that feedback. And remember, if you do submit feedback, always be polite, especially if you come from my channel. Ask for things nicely, and I'm sure you will receive them. But honestly, like I've said in the previous videos, Turbo OutRun Reimagined is just absolutely gorgeous in motion. The controls are spot on. This basically looks like something that Sega would have paid a development house a decent amount of money to remake and bring to modern consoles. But it is just one fan developer writing a love letter to Sega and OutRun, and that's when you know you're going to get some of the best stuff. Sega fans out there are absolutely passionate. You should know I'm always talking about Sega games on the channel. I love arcades, I love arcade games and arcade collecting, and for my money, Sega is still the absolute gold standard pinnacle of arcade game development. I remember playing OutRun and Turbo OutRun in the arcades, and obviously OutRun 2. Outrunner's not so much so, I came to that later on in life, but these are just perfect games, and so if you're going to try to remake them and improve on them, you have a very big bar to jump over, so you know that you're at least doing the same as what the original games did, and if you're trying to improve on them, that bar is pretty damn astronomical. And I know I keep hyping up the developer here, Skids, but I can promise you what they are doing is nothing short of legit straight up magic. This just feels so good in motion, and there's so many options, which is great. I'm using ABS and traction control on just because in some of the previous builds people had commented that the steering was a little loose, and I feel like that's a new feature, so I wanted to kind of showcase it. And speaking of new features, let's get a soundtrack sample in here with the audio and dialogue for the police radio scanners, both from Dispatch as well as the police, which is a new feature. 45 seconds or so, and I'll come back and show you more about what's new in the demo.
Attention all units. Be on the lookout for a speeding vehicle heading northbound.
Dispatch, I have visual contact with the suspect.
Acknowledged. Engage pursuit.
Dispatch, I have visual contact with the suspect.
Acknowledged. Engage pursuit.
Dispatch, I've lost vision. Cancel that. I have the suspect in sight again.
Acknowledged. Engage pursuit.
Reduce your speed.
Dispatch, I've lost visual on the suspect. Last seen heading northbound.
Now, not only is obviously that some of the best music ever put to a video game, I just absolutely can't get enough of the OutRun soundtrack. Anytime I get to talk about it, I'm so excited. But what I really want to talk about is the dispatch and the police scanner noises and the overall audio quality there, because you will hear that both dispatch and the cop sound definitely hollow, and I feel like that is a very big design choice and a very intentional one, because if you're not familiar with radios, honestly, I use them all the time when I worked in skiing in the backcountry, and everyone's voice sounds like it's coming through a tin can on a radio. So the fact that the developer Skids here included that in the game to try to get as close to an approximation of what real radio chatter sounded like, including all of the different squawks and squelps that come through a radio, really show a massive attention to detail. It's little things like that that you have to kind of look for to notice, and if you had just put in clear audio, no one would have really cared whatsoever, because that would be maybe the better thing for somebody's ears, to have that crystal clear audio, which we do get in other voice samples, but to put in that hollow tinniness of an actual radio, it's such a small touch and it makes such a big difference. And as we actually go through the courses here, you have Turbo OutRun completely included in the game. OutRun is still work in progress, but it is still there enough for you to be able to play it from start to finish. You have original mode, you have arcade mode, and I absolutely love the options in this game, being able to adjust all of the different steering for wheel and pedal set, all of the dead zones, all the binds for keyboard, controller, wheel, everything. There's more options in this than you see in most retail games released for PC today, whether they're in the racing genre or any other genre. Pretty much everything has been thought of here. Everything's been intentionally designed to give you the OutRun experience you want, however you want to have it. You can dial up the difficulty to hard, make the timer absolutely brutal, turn off all of the different traction controls and other quality of life improvements, and just try to do your absolute best so you can kind of ease up and have a little bit better of a run. And I will have to say, just like I did in previous videos, the graphics here, the sprite scaling, this pseudo 2D effect into 3D looks absolutely stunning. It makes me want to see more sprite scaler games made by full development studios in 2025 and beyond, because this look absolutely holds up, and the speed at which you're driving down the road here 100% is accurately portrayed in how quickly things are moving beyond you. And that skybox with the city in the background whipping around, it just combines together to be an absolutely beautiful looking game. The trees on the roads with the lights inside of them twinkling, the street lights, all of the different vehicles around you, the sum part of everything here just adds up to something very special. And again, this is only 0.5. That means there's a lot more to come, a lot more features to be added, a lot more improvements to be had. So something that I already think is spectacular is just going to get better as time goes on, and that should make me, as well as you, very excited to see how Turbo OutRun Reimagined kind of progresses through 2025, because Skids, the developer here, is absolutely on the right path, and I can't wait to see what they come up with next. But one more soundtrack sound, because I love the music. 35 seconds, I'll show you a little bit more of the game.
You can actually keep up. I'm en route to the pursuit now.
Understood, Unit 371.
No one gets away. This is not a game.
I will say this mountain pathway course is very difficult, but it is a situation in which I am making the mistake and I am driving off the road because I screwed up. It is not a situation where the game is being too hard on you. If you make a mistake and you crash here, that is because you didn't read the road correctly, you didn't enter and exit the turn at the right apex, you brought in too much speed and didn't use enough brake. It just makes you want to go back and try to be better at the game, try to learn it more, and just try to improve your overall performance. And that is always a good sign in a game where all you want to do is continue to play. I did run out of time here, but moving over to Outrun mode, not as fully featured as Turbo OutRun right now, but you can still rip up the course from start to finish, and again, it's just so much fun. And that really is the reality of Turbo OutRun Reimagined. Skids is just taking an incredible set of games, OutRun and Turbo OutRun, and adding them into a modern engine with modern quality of life improvements, so many graphical upgrades, amazing music, new features, and just more of a good thing. And I have no idea if anything else is going to come to this, but if you felt like adding Outrunners in a 0.8 or 0.9 update, I definitely wouldn't complain, but don't expect that. I'm just kind of making a wish list. The link to play this game is down below. I can't recommend it enough. Definitely check it out, and I'll do another video when it updates. But we're done. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.